Okay, so I was thinking to create a new playlist of a Python interview question, and in this video, like in this playlist, basically, like we will cover some Python interview question which could be useful to you, and I am going to explain all the questions with examples probably. And but if, as per my knowledge, I am going to explain that. But if you think like my answers are wrong, so you are feel free to correct me in the comment section. Okay, and you can believe me, like these questions are really important, and hopefully, like even many companies. Uh, in the many companies, if you sit for the Python interview, so in the technical round or maybe just for fit round, they are going to ask these kind of questions. So let's see the first question. So what is self, and can we use some other keywords instead of a self? So this is just a one question. So what is self? So if you just see this keyword self, we remember, okay, the self keyword, like we generally use when we define the classes. So let's jump into the pie chart. Let's define some class. So class order, and we defined init method. So as soon as I type init, you could see like I am writing the self. All right. So in this question, what is self? So self, like basically the interview is being to ask like what is self. So how you are going to explain. So let's suppose if you have to create some class. Let's suppose you don't know what is self. Just remove just like ignore that. Let's suppose if you have to like define some class, then how you are going to define. So you will create one class. You will define some init method, and let's suppose this init method is going to accept one id, one order id, and then what we will do, we will do self dot id is equal to id, right? And let's suppose we create some other method, get id, right? And as soon as I put get id, then we could see like another self you can say keyword is also going to pass, which is also fine. Now we are just print uh, order id is self dot id. All right, self dot id. And if I want to create an object, so how I am going to create an object? So ord is equal to order. So I create the object like this only. So I am creating the class object ord is equal to order. Then if I have to call this get id method, and if because I am creating the object, because the init method is ask like supposed to be get some id as an input parameter. So we have to pass id as in, so let's suppose one. So now we have to get the order id. So let's try to run it. 1 minute. So let's try to run it. Python testing.py. So we get order id is one. So but what is self? So basically when we are calling this order id, right? So we are not passing any argument when we calling, but here it is accepting some argument. So which is that argument? So basically we are like whenever you define some function, how you are going to define some function one, all right? And let's suppose it do something, and if you have to call that function, how you call that function one, right? So now you are calling this function is not accepting any argument. So that's why you are calling without this. Let's suppose if it accepts some argument abc, then you have to pass some argument. All right. So this is the same thing like which you are called the normal function, but here this is the class function. All right. So to access the class function, we need some object. All right. So we are calling these class function using the object dot get id. All right. But here what we said, there are no argument, but here we are passing some argument. So this argument is basically this ord. So what is self? So self is the instance, or you can say object of this class. So whenever we create an object or instance, basically we can say instance of that class, particular class. So that is called as a self. So which is accepted as a first argument in the class methods. So this is the first method, this is the second method, this is the matching method, this is one other method. So the first argument is self only, right? So this is self. So now we know what is self. We just need to define in the English term, right? So the self parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class. So what is the current instance? So current instance is the order. So what is self? Because we are calling ord.getId. So it means like we are passing ord as a parameter and it is accepting here, right? So self parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class. So this is ORD and we are passing ORD. So this is the so this is referring to this instance of the class. So self parameter the reference to the current instance of the class, and it is used to access variable that belongs to the class. So if we want to access this, so we have to use the self. If we don't pass self, let's suppose if we don't pass self, we will get the error. We will get the error. See, order ID takes 0 positional argument, but 1 was given. It says nothing is being passed, but we are passing 1. So, but here you could see we are not passing any, here we are not passing anything, and this is nothing. But actually we are passing ORD. So that's why we have to pass something here, self. Right? So it is a common convention to use self. So generally in any code, even in the open source community, you could see the people are using the self. It is a standard, right? As the first parameter in the definition of the instance method in the Python class. So this is the first parameter in the class methods, or you can say like instance method. So when you create an instance of a class, so when you create an instance of a class, so this is a class, I am creating an instance of a class. The instance is passed automatically as the first argument to the method defined in the class. So instance is automatically like passed as a first argument, right? So by the convention, the first argument name is self. Self allows you to access the instance attributes and method. So you can say ORD is a self. So self allow us to access this method within the method of the class. So this is just a definition what is self. So you can say self is the reference to the current instance of the class, or you can say instance of the class, or it is a reference. But the next question is something maybe everyone know what is self, but next question is little bit maybe some people don't know. Can we use some other keyword instead of a self? Because generally we see here it is self, but can we use something else? Can I use my name here, Sumanshu, or can I use something else, ABCD? Right? So the answer is yes, because this is not a reserved keyword in the Python. It could be anything, just the first argument, because we are in the get id function, we are calling that function, we are calling using the ord. So ord is being passed, so we need some argument here to accept that, and that should be the first argument. So let's try passing some other. So class, so let's try one class, class person, right? So class person, and let's define the some init method, and instead of self, let's suppose define this, and this is going to take the name, which is a string, and it is going to take the age, which is an integer. Now this dot name is equal to name, this dot age is equal to age. Fine. Now let's correct get name and age, and instead of self, because it could be anything, let's suppose I am passing abcd, let's suppose I am passing abcd, right? And I am printing uh, f name is this years old. All right. So not name, basically abcd dot name, abcd dot name dot abcd dot age. All right. And now we will define the object. So p is the object of the class person, and in the init method, which is a constructor, it is expecting 3 arguments: first, second, and third. So first is this, we are passing p, that is the like the object only, the instance reference. Second is age, so let's pass my name. All right, so let's pass age. So that's the integer we are passing, which is fine. Now we will call. So p dot get name and age. Now let's try whether it's work or not. So you could see Sumanshu is 30 years old. So it means so self is not a mandatory keyword. Like it doesn't mean like you have to use just only self. No, you can use anything, this abcd, like anything. Sumanshu, myself, my object, my reference, my instance, anything you can use. So for the second question, can we use some other keyword instead of a self? So the answer is yes, we can use, because this is just an argument. This is just an argument which, because it says this function is accepting one argument and we are not passing anything. So this function which we are calling is accepting one argument, which is p. So we have to accept that argument. So p will come here, and p will come here, and we are going to access that p. Like p has name and p has age. If you want to see, print dir of p. So p has everything. So if you see, P has the age, P has the get name, P has the name. So so P is here. So P dot name, P dot age. I am getting these variables, right? Along with that, so this is done. So what is self? We want to know, and can we use some other keyword instead of a self? So the answer is yes. We are already see, like yes, we can use, and we see like in the example. Right. Along with that, like self is not a reserved keyword. But how we can verify like whether self is a reserved keyword or not? So if you go to the Python terminal and do like just two line of code, import keyword and keyword dot uh, keyword list, and hit enter. So you will get all the reserved keywords of Python. So false, none, true, and, is, assert, async, await, break, yield, del, elif, else, except, finally. So these are, so you can test how many keyword dot kw list. So total 35. So total 35 is the keyword, but self is not there. So self is not a like a reserved keyword. You can do anything. Like let's suppose self is equal to Sumanshu Nankana and print self. I can do that as well. All right. So let's try. So exit. So see, I am printing yes Sumanshu Nankana. Right. So self is not a reserved keyword. It is just a standard. It is recommended to use this. It is not recommended to use this kind of logic. It is recommended to use this only, that which means the first argument should be self. So that's it. That's the end of the video. So in the coming videos, we will create a huge playlist. In the coming videos, we will going to cover the further Python technical interview questions. So thank you.